Hey friends, it's Laura with Laura's Handmade Haven. Welcome or welcome back. I'm so glad you joined me today. We have a completely different project today, and this is actually going to be the kickoff video for a new playlist that I'm going to start because, okay, so let's just get honest. When we're crafting, there are some times that it gets a little stressful, and in order to relieve a little stress, you got to have a little happy juice, right? So I'm going to show you how I have customized my cocktails binder, and I have Cricut Design Studio files to share with you so you can make the dividers as well. And I'm going to show you a custom handcrafted cocktail. So we're going to start off in the kitchen making our happy juice. We're in the kitchen and I've gathered all the ingredients we need to make our Bam-Basiled cocktail. This is actually a cocktail that my stepdaughter and I came up with. Okay, because here's the deal. I have a ton of basil right now. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I bought 3 basil plants and we don't like pesto that much. So other than making pesto, I had to like Google, what do you do with basil? And then I was like, can you make cocktails with basil? Because that sounds yummy. And guess what? You can. So our Bam-Basiled cocktail is going to be kind of like a lemon drop with a basil twist. So let me tell you about all the ingredients and then we'll get it together and we'll go back to the craft room with our happy juice and get our little crafty project going. On the bar here, we have our shaker filled with ice. We have a little container with lemon juice in it. You're going to use ½ ounce of lemon juice. You're going to need 2 or 3 basil leaves. I've got like 4 in here. You're just going to throw those into the lemon juice and you're going to muddle them. So let's muddle that up. And you basically just want to get that basil to release its fragrance into your lemon juice. Obviously, the more you muddle, the more basil-y it's going to be. And to be quite honest with you, this drink, if you let it sit for a little bit, it has a little more of a basil flavor to it. So if you take your first sip and you're like, I don't really taste the basil, let it sit for a little bit and then sip on it some more and you will taste that basil in there. And it's really quite refreshing and quite yummy. All right, so that's muddled enough. We're going to throw that into our shaker. Like I said, it's ½ ounce of lemon juice and 3 basil leaves muddled, thrown into the shaker. And now I'm going to use 1½ ounces of vodka. Now this is a single drink. I'm going to be honest and tell you that most of the time I make doubles, but we're just going to do a single for right now. I love this shaker. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box down below. It has the measurements in the cap, which are amazing because that way I don't have to have anything else because all the measurements are right inside the cap. So here's 1½ ounce of vodka. I like Tito's. You use whatever you want. And then we need ½ ounce of simple. Let's see here. Yep, there we go. And to be quite honest, sometimes I'm a little heavy on the simple just because. That all goes into our shaker and shake. All right, now we're going to strain that into a glass with some ice in it. And that's, about 2½ ounces of liquid. Plus the ice that you just, broke up and diluted a little bit with the juices. Now, honestly, this cocktail right here, without anything else, is amazing. But if you want to add a little more fun, top it with some Starry or Sprite or 7-Up. I used about half of this can, which is about 3 ounces. And now, just because we want to make sure it looks pretty, we'll put a couple little basil leaves right here on top of our drink and have our first sip. So good. All right, let's get back to the craft room and talk about our cute binder. All right, so we're back in the craft room and we are going to work on our cocktail binder. Now, I have put together 5 different little divider tabbies that you can just get through Cricut Design Space and you will be able to cut them out. Any of the Cricuts will do it. There are some cutting and some drawing. So like I said, any of the Cricuts will be able to do this. You don't have to have a specific one. I do have the Cricut Maker 3, but you should be able to do this with any of the Cricut products. You know what? The only one that I think that you may not be able to do this with is the Joy, because it's small. But anyway, so I cut the tabs out, and they basically look like this. I cut those out, and then I ran them through my laminator, which I love my laminator. The reason I ran them through the laminator is because, well, let's be honest, sometimes when you're making a drink, you might spill a little something. So I wanted them to be protected from any liquid that may happen their way. And so basically, I cut them out with a Cricut, ran them through my laminator, and now I'm just going to cut them out with scissors. And these are not my fabric scissors. These are paper scissors. In this case, they're plastic scissors, but they're not my fabric scissors. And you just want to leave about 1/8 of an inch around the outside of your paper for where you are cutting. Because if you cut closer than that with laminating material, it breaks the seal and it just defeats the purpose of laminating it to begin with. Because the laminating sheets are not sticky, right? It's a thermal set process, and so it just basically melts the plastic together around the shape. So if you cut too close to the shape, it's just going to pop that seal, and it won't be, laminated anymore. I will put a link to the laminating machine and the laminating sheets in the description box below. I'll also put a link to the size binder that I'm using, so you can order that if you're interested. And then I'm also going to put a link to a couple other products I'm going to be using here pretty quickly. First of all is the Crocodile. Now, all of these dividers are the same size, and the holes are in the same place, right? Because that kind of matters when you're wanting to put them in your binder. So I'm just going to punch my holes here. And I'm just using the Crocodile to punch through the middle of the holes. That's all I'm doing. And now these go inside my binder. Okay, so you may notice that when you go to look at these dividers, they are not in alphabetical order. And that's because I am a vodka girl. I love drinks with vodka the most. So I wanted that section in the front just so it's handy and dandy for me to grab quickly. Here's what it's going to look like inside your binder if you use the tabs I put together for you in Cricut Design Space. So just know that they all line up really well, and you can flip through at your leisure. And here's our binder closed. You don't see the little tabbies at all. They're all in there, happy, happy. And then inside, between our dividers, I will eventually put in different recipes that I share with you. So in this video, I shared with you the Bam-Basiled cocktail, and I have that recipe card linked in the description box below. You can go and print it out. It will fit in a 5.5 by 8.5 inch binder, and it will have a cute little picture of our drink. I hope you enjoyed this new playlist kickoff. I'm kind of excited about it because I love handcrafted cocktails. They're super fun. I've made several different little potions to add to my cocktails, such as my own limoncello. I made my husband some of his own very Irish cream. I've just made a simple syrup with strawberries today, which I'm super excited to try. And I also made an herb-infused simple syrup that I can't wait to try in a cocktail as well. Just a few little things I like to do in the kitchen that aren't necessarily baking or cooking related, but are definitely yummy. Yum. So I don't know how often I will share little crafted cocktails with you guys. I'm hoping to add them in like as little Easter eggs in other videos. So you'll have to just stay tuned and watch all the videos, because you never know when a crafted cocktail will pop up. Because you're never going to know when a crafted cocktail may pop up in a video. I hope to build that playlist out over the next, several years probably. So if you have a favorite cocktail, leave me a link in the description box below, or give me the recipe or something, and I may just include it. Until next time, find joy in all you do. Carve out some time for crafting and creating. And remember, it's always better when you make stuff up.